In this video, I'm driving across Death Valley National Park in one day. In my previous video, I spent some time at the Alabama Hills in the eastern Sierras of California, and here I'm driving into a very different environment, going from some of the tallest mountains in the country to the hottest, driest, and lowest place in America. This was my first stop at Death Valley, and it's called Rainbow Canyon, as you can see by the interesting colors of the rocks and the surrounding landscape. I mean, I personally wouldn't describe it as rainbow colored, but still pretty cool. Here we're just driving further down into the valley, and it's just a really scenic and winding road through the mountains. I found it really cool that you can see all the different layers of stratified rock in the surrounding landscape, each of which represents a different time in geological history. What you see on video here really doesn't do it justice to represent just how vast and expansive these landscapes are in real life. Death Valley really makes it feel like you're almost on a different planet or something. It's just so much land to explore. This is the Mosaic Canyon Trail, the main hike I'd be doing for the day. Pretty much self-explanatory, it takes you through a really cool canyon that almost looks like a slot canyon at times, with some really cool rock formations and some fun scrambling sections too. It's around a 3.5 mile round trip with about 1,000 feet of elevation gain, which is not too bad, but obviously things can get much more difficult in the Death Valley sun, especially if you're doing this in the summer, even though you probably shouldn't be hiking here in the summer. This video is from, I think, early March, so the temperature was alright on this day. Back on the road again for a short drive to the next stop, which you'll see basically right now. It's the Mesquite Flat Sand Dunes. Didn't spend too much time there as it was getting pretty late in the afternoon, and I wanted to see one more really cool thing before the sunset. I'm gonna shut up for a bit until we get there, but this is the drive across the middle of the park towards Badwater Basin, with a quick stop at the visitor center in between. For the next few minutes, hope you enjoy the views. Not at Badwater Basin just yet, but I stopped along the side of the road just to take in some more views and especially to see some of the wildflowers that were blooming this time of year. It's not something you usually see. After about an hour or two of driving, I finally made it to Badwater Basin, and here you can see the iconic sea level sign, representing that right here, we're 282 feet below sea level. If you didn't know, Badwater Basin is basically a giant salt flat that also happens to be the lowest place in the country, and even in all of North America, I believe. What was really cool about this specific day was that there must have been a giant storm recently because there was actually some water on the salt flats, forming a very shallow, reflective lake on the surface. This was, I believe, my third time visiting Death Valley and the first time I've ever seen this. Before driving out of Death Valley, I made a quick stop for dinner at one of the hotels in the park. And then it was back on the road again, heading towards Las Vegas. Wasn't planning on doing anything crazy in Vegas, by the way, but it was just a convenient place to stop along the long drive back to Arizona. And in my next video, I'll be doing a really cool hike at Red Rock Canyon, which is a park close to Las Vegas. This is the Harrah's Hotel and Casino, pretty close to the Strip, I believe, and it was pretty cool to stay in a nice hotel for once. I usually just book the cheapest ones I can find on these trips, which usually ends up being a motel, but I actually got a good deal on this pretty decent hotel. Anyways, thanks as always for watching. Red Rock Canyon in the next video with a really cool hike. And be sure to like, subscribe, and leave a comment to let me know what you think.